Welcome to the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast, where art and wellness collide. I'm your host, Ashley, and I am so excited to connect with you today. Now, let's jump into today's episode, ready to rock and with an open heart. Well, hi, and welcome to the Healthy Metal Hippie. Today, we have Ryan Roxie with us from the Alice Cooper Band and creator of the System 12 guitar system. Welcome, Ryan. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you, Ashley. It's great to be here, and I'm happy to be on the program right now. It's cool to be on a new podcasts and up-and-coming ones.
Yeah, and you know what? I was thinking this morning, we've actually known each other for 10 years this year.
Was it Norway? Where was it that we met?
You got it. It was Norway. And it was the craziest day because I left my dinner and I thought, you know what? I flew all the way from Canada. It would be very cool if I met somebody amazing while I'm over here.
What were you doing there? Were
And I
you
looked
there
over.
for the festival?
I came for that. I came just to see Alice and Aerosmith. Yeah.
See, because it was a small town, like outside of, it wasn't Oslo, it wasn't Trondheim, it was like a very small Norwegian, maybe on the West Coast, I want to say. And all of a sudden,
It was on the south
part, yeah. And you have
Yeah.
Alice Cooper and Aerosmith kind of invading the town. You have all these tour buses going on, and it's a small little village. And then you have us walking
Yeah.
around not knowing what to do. Where can we get some food late at night? So we just went to this restaurant, and that's where I think it was Tommy met you first, and Tommy, our guitar player, and we just. Wait, was that when Nita was in the when Orianthi was in the band?
No, it was
So
Orianthi. That was like one of her
I
last
got it.
shows.
Okay, because I remember Tommy and I. My wife was out, and it was the first time she'd ever been to Norway. And then you were there, and we just start talking. We hit it off, and 10 years later, I'm doing your podcast.
It's true, and it's kind of crazy, and I I mean I just love how these things kind of come full circle in some ways. And it got me really thinking about, I know you've talked about having the rock star posters on the wall growing up and how that really started to shape your life, like with Cheap Trick and obviously things like the Beatles. Who hasn't been shaped by the Beatles, really? But
I think a lot of younger generations haven't been and probably should. Whether their parents didn't turn them on to those bands, they probably turned them on to bands that were directly influenced by the Beatles. I'd say that any younger kid that knows their parents listened to Oasis must know that there's a bit of Beatles background in that. But I was sort of raised on the source of the Beatles, plus some bands that were obviously very closely followed the Beatles and were even bigger fans than I when I was growing up. But that band was Cheap Trick, because you could tell Cheap Trick is a natural evolution of the Beatles with the songs. And Oasis, it's always sort of some sort of generational passing, but the source, I believe, always comes from the Beatles. Even Alice Cooper has huge Beatle influence. So I wrote a song in one of the first bands I was in called Dad's Porno Mag, DPM. It was called Poster Idol, and it was exactly about that thing, about how the posters on my wall would literally speak to me. They would be the ones that would give me these reassurances that, hey, one day you're going to be up here with us. And I'd have big old headphones like I'm wearing right now, and I'd be listening to the records and looking at the posters and not trying to be a guy that was looking at the posters, imagining that I was on stage with the people that were on these posters. And the crazy thing is, years later, that's what I am. And that's what I've been doing. A lot of those same posters that I had on my wall, I've been able to tour with those same bands. So it's pretty cool.
And I guess that's one of the big things I think about you, Ryan, is like you became those posters. You've kind of always known it in your heart that you were meant to be a rock star in a way. Do you know what I
I think
mean?
that everybody has it in them to become whatever they want to become. A lot of times, the mind kind of plays tricks on you and tries to maybe give you some advice of, oh, well, this way will be more sensible, or this way might get you more money, and or this way. And it's like, no, the heart always knows what it really wants. And if the heart, if you let the heart choose and just take all the stuff that goes on inside your head, because trust me, I'm no different. I get inside my own head all the time. Um, and I try to, these days, I'm much better at it than I was before, but take a step back, take your head out of it, and let the heart sort of say, okay, where is it that I want to go and what do I choose to do? And the minute your heart chooses and you can convince your head that it's a good idea, so when the heart and the head actually meet together and say, yeah,
Mhm.
let's go for this, then things do happen. They really do. Because I mean, the head is important. Obviously, the brain is important. It gives you the work ethic. It gives you the sensibility to like put things together. But again, it's the heart that drives what the passion is. And for me, luckily, at a very young age, I knew what it was that I wanted. A lot of people these days don't know exactly what they want. Um, Everybody knows what they don't want. Very few people know what they want. So the faster you can get onto that
Yeah.
track of listening to that gut feeling, whether you call it the heart, the gut feeling, the stomach, whatever it is, the minute you
Yeah.
can let that take over a little bit and guide you there, then bring the head in to agree with it, things will start happening a lot quicker for you, I think. And trust me, I still adhere to that philosophy to this day. I do let my heart sort of lead me, but I definitely let the head sort of make some choices that, some sensible choices. If I didn't make sensible choices, I would have been dead probably at least 20 years ago, along with a lot of people that I knew back in the 80s in Los Angeles, because we did a lot of crazy, stupid stuff. But I mean, luckily, I was able to always take a step back and be a little bit sensible. And now that I'm touring this day in 2024, far beyond the sort of shelf life of a rock and roller, I
Mhm.
find myself in very good company with a lot of other people that feel the same and acted the same, you know, that are sensible, very cool to deal with, and they still are very much uh, ruled by their heart and their love for music and touring and entertaining. And again, Alice Cooper being the biggest influence for me, and sort of my big brother in many ways. I look up to him about that. He is the ultimate entertainer. He's a great singer, great songwriter,
Oh
but
yeah.
at the end of the day, his forte, his thing that brings it all together is him on stage. That's what he lives for, and that's what I'm lucky enough to live for as well, right by his side.
It's so true. And I love that you're talking about like aligning yourself with the people that are aligned with your values and how you want to live your life and how it just all comes together. As looking at again your album, Imagine Your Reality. And it seems like that's been a
Yeah.
constant theme through your entire life from a young age, picking
Well,
up
there
an
have been,
instrument.
yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right. I have had these small, short phrases that have kind of been a little bit of a credo, if you will. Imagine your reality is something that came about a little bit later, with visualization and stuff. I don't want to get all hippie and
No, I want you to. That's
psychedelic. Well, wait a second.
that's
This is the perfect place to get hippie.
exactly.
It's your
Come
name.
on. I want you to get all hippie. This is what we're here for, Ryan.
Well, look, I've for years studied TM,
Mhm.
so transcendental meditation, and not a big. I didn't even realize that transcendental meditation was what the Beatles had gone to India to study and get into with the Maharishi. It was just something that I had. read about, and it was later that I found out that one of my favorite bands of all time, that was the whole reason, uh, was TM. So I did that for many, many years, and it helped me get to a place where it was easier to take a step back and see things for what they are. That's one of the credos, was imagining your reality. You have to do something. You can definitely can dream and imagine, but sometimes just dreaming, it's not enough. It's not going to be enough. You have to put the work in, and that's where the head comes into place. But that credo, imagine your reality, became very important for me, so much so that I made the album, entitled it that. And then the other one is enjoy the ride. And I do think that this thing we call life, as Prince would say, uh, is a ride, and you better enjoy it, because the ride's not long. The older I get, the more I realize, shit, it's not as long of a ride as I thought it was going to be.
It's truly
So for
not.
those younger listeners out there, enjoy the ride. Be sensible. Don't jump off the ride and get yourself knocked out of the roller coaster, but strap yourself in and enjoy it.
Hmm. What do you think about just that mindset overall? You've always had quite a positive mindset from when I've known you. I know you've talked a bit about like releasing your ego, letting these things fall by the wayside, be a little bit more humble. You've talked about that before, but getting
Yeah.
into a
I've talked
positiveness,
about all those things that I've been I've talked about all those things, but have been guilty of regressing just like anyone else.
everybody does.
I'm
Yeah.
human, and to think that you're going to always remember these things when something pisses you off, or you head into sort of a dark time. Not to say that dark times have to last, but there is a wave of good and bad. I mean, everything strives to be equal,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I mean, you look at yin yang, or even just a thermometer. If you put something in water, you put a glass of hot water out on the table. What is it doing? It's lowering the temperature to get to room
It's
temperature, to
balance.
where it's equal, not colder, balance. So
Yeah.
that's really, when you're striving for balance in your life, you're inevitably going to have the ebb and flow of highs and lows. Um, I constantly have to remind myself about that, because it's too easy to make a knee jerk reaction sometimes, and it's so much better to take a step back. But God, how how many times have I, you know, blown up really quickly at something that was, in retrospect, very, very petty and stupid. And part of the reason why I feel that I've been able to do this for so long is that all of us in this position, being in the Alice Cooper band or whatever position I'm in with musicians, we've reached a level where the petty things don't matter as much.
Yeah.
We all know what the end game is. The end game is to entertain, the fuck out of people on stage. And then we all know whose name is on the marquee as well. But because Alice Cooper's name is on the marquee, he's so secure with his ego, he gives us enough spotlight to do our thing and make our mark every single night. So no one in the band is ever worried about enough stage time. We get our
Oh
spotlight. We
yeah.
really do. And I think that's why this band is so cohesive, and it's been the longest running band that Alice has had, longer than the original,
Yeah, which is
which is
wild when
crazy.
you think about it, right? I think
Same lineup. I mean, for years and years, I was in multiple different lineups. Band members would change. People go to this band, people go to that band. This band has been very consistent now for the last 8, 9, 10 years.
yeah, which
It's
is
great.
I mean, it is incredible, and I know everybody just adores the whole band. All of you bring such unique qualities to the band, right? Between Chuck or Tommy or you or Nita or Glenn, right? Everybody brings something special, and it kind of reminds me. Oh God, sorry, but it reminds me kind of like the Spice Girls. You have like your favorite
That's
Spice
fine.
Girl, right? Like,
I have no problem being a Spice Girl in the Alice Cooper band, because I do agree that the minute you become sort of a character
mm,
and something that defines you, as a character, I've always said the minute you can become a cartoon character in rock and roll is the minute that you have longevity forever, and you can just see it. Obviously, Kiss, they are
Yeah.
cartoon characters. Alice Cooper with his eye makeup, his cane, his top hat, he is a cartoon character. Slash with
Yes.
his top hat so if you can become that character uh, in rock and roll and still be authentic and true to yourself and enjoy the character that you're in, um, then I think you have the license to play rock and roll for the rest of your life.
This is true. How do you get settled really in your authenticity and showing up like your authentic self all the time? I
Ah,
mean, you know what?
I think
Sometimes you
it's.
do have to adapt for situations, of course, but it's still you coming through, right?
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, I mean, you definitely, just like you play the right notes for the song, you wouldn't shred over a ballad, or you wouldn't play, you know, an acoustic guitar in a death metal type song, and vice versa. I think you sort of image wise or sort of personality wise carry yourself into what the gig is, and luckily for us, Alice Cooper is pure classic rock, and in his spectrum and of all the music he's played covers so many different
Mhm.
genres. So there's a few songs even in our set where we can be heavy metal. There's a couple songs that we can be garage rock. There's a few ballads that we can be, that 70s Only Women Bleed, classic rock ballad. And then, it's basically all under this umbrella of rock and roll. So with Alice Cooper, we get to show a lot of different types of colors in our personalities. But the thing is, as long as you're always comfortable in it, Alice has always said you guys can wear anything you want on stage as long as it's black, because you can wear any color of clothing you want on stage as long as it's black. He just said it like just like Ford said with the Model T. So we always try to stretch the boundaries a little bit. Like this is a shade of black. It's grayscale. It's like so but usually, Alice, that's his only real requirement, is that the base color of all our stage clothing is black, and that's fine, And trust me, it has nothing to do with us not getting on, not wanting to be seen, because he's the ultimate, like I said before, of giving us the spotlight. He's the first guy to say, when you have a guitar solo, you better be front and center on the
Yeah.
stage. You better be right there in the spotlight. I think the darker clothing is just more of a sinister thing that he's always had and he's always
It just
enjoyed.
looks cool, let's
So,
be real. Like,
well, thank you. But you know what? I can get away with the pink sunglasses as long as I'm wearing, as long as I accessorize it enough with enough black scarves and clothing and leather and stuff like
this
that.
is true. I mean, you always have like the ultimate rock star wardrobe when you come out, really anytime. Even right now, you can tell total rock star.
Well, I appreciate that, Ashley, but truth be told, I've been literally hanging out. I was jumped in the pool like 15 minutes before we started this, and yeah, I obviously haven't shaved for a while, so that's the only thing that's not agreeing with my sort of Alice Cooper dress code, is that all this white hair growing out of my face now. All this white and gray hair. There's the 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 dark mustache hair is becoming farther and further between. So that's where we have the aids of the help of what is it called? Hair dye, basically hair dye.
Right. That what is that? What is that stuff? It's like you kind of comb it in, right? Oh my god, don't do that.
There's a lot of different products on the market that we all know about these days, guys. You all know what I'm talking about. Anybody in their, mid 40s probably. I've seen younger and younger dudes like getting gray hair. That's cool, but 45, 50 years old, you know what I'm talking about. A bunch of different things that can darken up the hair, darken up the roots, and, sort of fill in what we like to call discrepancies on the heads.
Discrepancies. So, are
Yeah,
you
there's.
coloring your hair now still, or have you let
I
it
have
go?
to. I need to color my hair. If I don't color my hair every 4 weeks at this point, it
Yeah.
looks like my hair is levitating on top of my skull. So it looks like I have a halo. And it's kind
Aha.
of, and maybe I should just go for this halo look. I don't know, but I can tell you, my wife does not enjoy the halo look. In fact, she's the one that's always volunteering to dye my hair. She was like, "Yeah, it's been like 3.5 weeks, almost four. It's time to
It's
time to
time.
maybe get those roots."
We've got a date. Time to do your hair. Okay, that's fair. I know we were talking like Justin Hawkins. He's got the gray coming in. Sorry, Justin, but the silver fox, as he said, and he's just letting it go now. So I was curious if you're going to let it go. So, but I guess Bianca doesn't
um,
want that. So,
well, here's the thing. I was always lucky enough to have a nice big. I didn't, when I was young, I didn't want thick hair like the way I had for many years in rock and roll, because the one guy whose hair I wanted long, thin, blonde hair, not so much unlike Justin Hawkins, but more like Peter Frampton on the cover of
ooh,
Frampton Comes Alive.
oh
That
yeah,
that sort of purple silhouetted blonde hair that was kind of just stringy and hanging out, but looking so cool. But I didn't. I had this big, thick, almost like not curly, but like a wavy hair. And it was
right,
like, really? But then I moved to Los Angeles and I discovered Aquanet. I
right,
discovered a crimping iron slash, which later became a straightening iron, which
yeah,
was the godsend for me. And I discovered Motley Crue, who had Nikki had the same exact hair as me, and all of a sudden here's this guy who was able, with a can and a half of Aquanet, have your hair stick up for like days. Steve Stevens, another guy that had
yeah,
great,
oh yeah,
great. So then all of a sudden, that was my wheelhouse, and I had it for many years. But then I just started wearing hats, and that sort of became my thing as well. And luckily, a la Eric Clapton of wearing suits and going old early, I
mm.
went hats. So just in case someday the hair starts going, you're the guy with the hat.
So
And now,
nobody will ever know.
yeah, and now, even though I still got enough hair to like sort of, look, I can go hatless if I wanted to. Not really my favorite thing, just because I'm so used to wearing hats on stage all the time.
Yeah.
But I could, with a little, with the products that are out today helping you, I could go hatless, no problem, for those discrepancies we were talking about. but now I have the hat and the hat just becomes, whether it's a beanie, whether it's a what do you call it, a bowler cap,
Yeah.
or whether it's the big old, crazy monstrosities that I wear, at the Alice Cooper show. It's something that's become a life of its own. And I'd be 100% honest with you. I have a guitar. They call it a guitar, not a coffin, but it's called a guitar vault. That's what it is.
Right.
It's a vault that holds like 9 guitars. But what people don't know is it also holds 6 hats.
Oh,
So it's not. So I think the hats and the guitars are vying for position, because the hats sit on top of the guitars, and God bless him, our stage right tech Warren T. He's the one that's responsible for putting the hats on top of the vault. So each and every show, I'm like, well, what hat am I going to wear for what part song? And I switch them up every single time. So I switch hats almost as much as I switch guitars.
but not, you don't wear multiple hats, true, each show, though.
Oh, I
Or
do.
do
What are
you?
you talking
You
about?
do?
Yeah,
Have I
I
never
have.
noticed this? I'm
Uh,
always like, I somehow am always on your side too. So I'm like, how do I not even notice this?
No, no, no. It's
Oh,
maybe it's the
embarrassing.
guitar changes that do it. Don't worry about it
Yeah.
because next time, notice. Sometimes I'll start off with a, I've actually done a show with a beanie like this, starting off the show.
Right.
Then I'll switch to the cap. The cap is always a nice thing to switch to,
Yeah.
and then for the encore, I'll come out with some big old, uh, what's the company that does it? It would be perfect to endorse him right now if I
The
just knew
Italian guy, Pablo.
Italian. Yes. How do you know that?
Yeah. Because I want one of his hats so bad.
Pardo hats, right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
no. Pardo's a guitar.
Pablo's
Pablo's
hats.
Pablo's.
Yeah.
See. I have a Pardo guitar and a Pablo hat. Thank you
It's a lot of
for
peas.
No, you just completely saved the endorsement. So Pablo hats, he has amazing feathers, great looking. They're kind of relic like my guitars, and I'll wear that for one or two songs as well. So yeah, so I'm a hat guy.
they're they're
I have no
so
problem being a
cool.
hat guy. Like Chuck Garrick. You talked about characters. That's part of my character is the hat guy, wearing hats and caps and the red, white, and blue wristband. And
Hmm.
then Chuck, who stands beside me in the Alice Cooper band, he plays bass. His sort of thing is at one point in the show he's going to go shirtless because
Like
body
abs. His things are abs.
his things are abs because he has the body of a 17-year-old swimmer that just does crunches all day, which is really hard to be in a band next to, for so many years when you like a nice IPA beer or a nice glass of wine, before the show, because, you find yourself constantly out of breath from sucking in.
No, I'm sure it's not that bad, Ryan. Oh my God. That's too funny. So when you're on the road, then how do you keep healthy physically and emotionally too? Mental health.
Mental health is important. When you can, I try to TM, just that 20 minutes of just getting down in that zone.
Yeah,
And for those of you that know about transcendental meditation, you know what I'm talking about. It's good to do it once or twice a day. I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I can do it, but yeah, for mental health, that's what just taking a little time out just to meditate a little bit. And for those of you that don't know about TM, go check it out. It's very cool. Another thing I do for physical, I think physical activity and physical exercise is just as important. As mental, and I try to do at least 40 minutes of cardio a day, and then golf with Alice because I'm his
yeah,
golf buddy. So, as much as my wife doesn't think that golf is exercise or is a sport,
it
it
is.
is. Especially as bad as I play golf, I'm swinging constantly. So I'm constantly exercising with practice swings and miss swings and swings that hit balls, into other fairways. But the thing is, I do that, and then
Yeah,
I run around on stage as much as I can. For a
yeah,
58-year-old guy, I'm still pretty active on stage, and the reason why I know I'm pretty active as a 58-year-old guy is that there's a 70-year-old guy that's like right next to me that's outperforming me, as far as stage movement every single night. So I have a level to rise to every single night with Alice Cooper as your lead singer.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I mean, Alice, he can move. That's for sure. What do you do for cardio? Do you run? Do you go on the treadmill, bike? What kind of stuff do you do?
The what do you call elliptical machine is my
Elliptical.
it's my machine of choice. It's always been because I felt like it gives you good arm
Oh yeah.
exercise. It gets your legs in there. You know, I have no ass, so whatever it can do with glutes, it will. Yeah.
It
Eric,
helps.
yeah. Eric Singer once said I was like two legs stuck to a basic torso. There
Oh,
was no ass, and that's coming from
I'm
Eric Singer, drummer of Kiss. But
I mean, I'll be honest, I've never checked out your ass, Ryan, but
thank you,
you know,
thank you.
you
That's good.
can
Well,
you
you
can
didn't even
do
know that I
a lot of
changed hats
things.
since then. I'm beginning to
No.
think. I'm beginning to think you sit on my side of the stage to look across diagonal and check out the others.
Maybe. No, that's
Maybe.
not true. It's funny though because I just like I always take what I can get, but it's always like always brings me to you. So,
Yeah.
I'm not selecting like I need to be on Ryan's side. I'm just happy to be there, you know what I'm saying?
Well, if anyone wants to come to a show and they want it, I'm on stage right, which stage right for you guys are in the audience, it's on the, you're going to be on the left side.
Yeah.
You're going to want to be on the left side. So whenever you say stage right or stage left, it's like your perspective as if you were on stage. I know that sounds very, I'm not trying to mansplain anything. I'm not trying
No.
I'm not trying to humble brag. Also, I'm just trying to explain that like because I get confused every once in a while. Like, what's stage right? What's stage left? No, it's
It's
if
just
you're on
flipped.
the stage. So I'm on stage right, which is on the left side of the stage. It's a nightmare when you try to tell friends and family like meet me on stage right. So they
And
go to
they're
the
like,
right
"What?"
side of the stage. From they're looking at the auditorium.
Wrong
They're
stage
looking.
right.
No, but stage right is actually the left side of the stage.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's weird.
No, I know what you mean. Oh, so when you're out there, if you and not even just on stage, but just life in general, you get thrown with shit sometimes, right? That's just life. How do you handle it when you get setbacks of any kind, really? Personally,
Mm.
on the road, you know,
There was every time that I've run into a period of my life where it's I know that there's a little bit of a dip in whatever it is, dip in the energy, dip in the way that life is going, because it's always going to have that balance. Luckily, hopefully the trajectory is always upwards. But when it does go down, I constantly tell myself that this is where I am right now, and it doesn't mean I'll be there tomorrow. But while I'm here in this place, make the best of it that you can. Make the very it's so simple and so philosophical what Damone said in the movie Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He said, wherever you are is the place to be. And those words struck me more than any other quote from a movie. You know, a lot of people like will quote The Godfather. A lot of people will quote De Niro, and you're looking at me, blah blah blah. A
yeah.
lot of people will misquote millions of movies, but Damone from Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which is a great movie for the younger folks. If you haven't seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, it's Sean Penn's first movie he was ever in. And again, you kids are going, "Who's Sean Penn?" But I'm saying, I, one of the best actors of my generation for sure. But his first movie, and one of the, I can just say the typical way I grew up. But one of the characters in that film is named Damone. He's kind of a scammy guy, kind of a ratty guy, kind of like a getting over type of guy. But he says a couple of quotes in that movie which are insanely insightful. The one that stuck with me: wherever you are is the place to be. So there you go.
So you're always where you're meant to be, really, in life. Even through
I
even
don't
through
know.
those hard times, like whether
Yeah,
it's
I don't
to
know if it's meant to
teach.
be, but you're put in that position in whether you yourself have gotten off track. Maybe you yourself have gotten off that lifeline, that trajectory that you were on, and kind of like derailed a little bit. But you're there now. Again, I do believe it's up to you to get back on track and get on that track trajectory that you want to be on. And again, that's a lot, letting your heart tell you where to go and then having your head facilitate the ways to get there.
And so, like, if you feel like you're kind of stuck in one of those low dips, is it just like get on with it? You just have to force yourself to just move past it. Like, Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, no, well, the thing is, it sucks. There's no, I
Yeah.
mean, everyone wants to, there's no magic pill to having a bad night or having a bad time. I mean,
No.
I think, unfortunately, in today's world, everything is solved by a magic pill. Take this and you'll feel better in a little while. But sometimes that's another thing uh, that I definitely agree with this saying of giving time some time. If you can give time
Oh
some
yeah.
time, things do actually change. And while it is dark and it is bad, if you can do your best to say, no, look, I'm giving time as time, things are going to get better, and not focus on the darkness so bad, you'll get out of it a lot quicker. Not saying that I do it. Not saying, like I said,
No, of
I'm
course.
human. I fall into all those same traps sometimes. But even though I'm not too superstitious, I always knock on wood anyway. I have been very very fortunate to be on an upward trajectory for a long time, and I'm very happy about it. And if you know, we'll know about we'll know about it someday. We're all going to know about the end someday. Everybody knows at the end when it's the end. So I kind of want to. The worst thing would be is that you get to the end and you didn't do what your heart told you. You did what your head told you. Then all of a sudden it was
Yeah.
like, wait a second, everything I did was not the right. I really do think at the end of your life you're given like this. Well, this is the way everything is played out. You're almost like a you know
Right.
I don't know if you're given like I used to. It sounds funny, but I used to fantasize about there being a DVD or a CD that you were given whenever
Yeah.
you were gone, and they said, "Look, this is your life. This is what you did. Now go check it out, and tell us what you think would be you know what you would have done differently." And if you can look back on it and say, you know what, I don't think anyone has gone through life saying there's nothing they don't regret, something they
Yeah.
wouldn't have done differently. But if you can go through life and say, you know what, I would have done pretty much most of my life, I would have lived it in this way, then I think you're good. You're good to go on to the
Yeah.
next dimension or whatever. If you're not, and you really feel like it's maybe it's your choice. This whole thing of coming back again, reincarnation or whatever, maybe it's your choice where you say, you know what, I want to go try it again. Let me see if I can do it. So my feeling is like, if you've lived your life the best you can live it, and you're good with it, when they hand you that thumb drive, that file, that
Yeah.
for me it was, I'm old school, so it's a DVD. Maybe it's a Blu-ray for some, um, and you can go, you know what? Yeah, I'm good with it. Then you move on to whatever next dimension it is, and who knows? A lot of stars out there. There's a lot of friggin' stars when you look up in the sky. So who knows how many
Just a few.
who knows how many different podcasts are going on there up there.
This is true. Oh my goodness. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it. Like, my life in the past couple of years has taken a dramatic turn. And I feel like for myself, I'm finally stepping into all the things that I should have done 20 years ago. And now things are just taking off. But I sit there and I'm so thankful every day that I'm finally making those choices, even though it took me a while,
I agree, and you've done a great job at handling it. You and you got out whatever you wanted to call it, the dark times, the challenging times. But now you realize that now you have so much more time to live this life that you have, live this positive trajectory that going up, to what what the ultimate goal is for you. And I don't know what the ultimate goal is for you. I don't know what the ultimate goal is for anybody listening, but everybody has one. Everybody has what they think is a, I'm happy here. So no, just know this: when you do get to this place that you're happy and you're in a good place, don't sit back and say, "Oh my God, it's not going to last. Things are going." No, celebrate the win, enjoy the ride. All those things I've been talking about.
Yeah.
It's another word, another phrase that I like to say is celebrate the win, because I think far too few people in celebrate when something great happens and you've reached a point in your life. So celebrate it, but don't be complacent. Be like still okay. So what's next? Where now that I'm here,
Yes.
how can I take myself even higher and up to the next level? And right now, I'm in a good place where I'm trying to do that with my own life. Is okay. Where how can I even become in myself more tranquil is the word, or is it just more balanced? How can I be? And it really,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it does come. And I hear a lot of people that are obviously much more successful than myself, and much people that I admire greatly. They always say, serve, do better for other people. And so when you get to this point
Yeah.
that you're happy with yourself, now it's time to hopefully help other people.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And do it at the same time. Try and help people all the time, obviously. But I think that like that when people really realize that, oh, I don't, this car, this house, this material thing is great and I love it. Don't disparage it. But what can I do to, you know, what's going to make my heart happy? It's probably going to be helping somebody else out with something that they struggle with, and hopefully inspiring them.
Yeah.
And like I said, just with my job, I've learned that we get, just by doing something that we love very much, we actually also inspire people every night, which is a cool thing too. It's a great byproduct of what we get to do and we are so lucky to do for a living.
It's true. And I know I always feel revitalized after a good rock show. And I know everybody walks away just inspired and happy, and they feel like, you know, there's endless opportunity and endless joy out there. And I think that is a huge way of serving a community.
Well, that's a good way for me to go like start this tour, because we haven't even started this year's touring with, but that sort of idea of going out there and knowing that if you give it your all, you do your best show possible, you have actually made a little bit of a difference to inspire someone and hopefully have that, like you said, having that feeling of endless opportunity, because that's all you want to do as an entertainer. You want to take people out of their world, whether it's good or bad. You just want to take them out of their own world, let them into yours, hopefully inspire them, put them back in their world a little bit better than they were before they came to the show.
And that's it. I feel like as long as I've known you, at least, you always strive to leave people better than you found them. It's one thing I love about you, Ryan, and I'm not just like blowing smoke here, you
Oh,
know.
Ash, thank you very much. We got to make a fortune cookie out of that somehow. I don't know if we can fit the wording in right enough, but a fortune cookie could be make the world a little bit better than when you started the show. At the end of the show, the world's a little bit better. But
It's true.
trust me, I will. It was inspiring for me to hear it, and it made me look that much forward to getting out there and getting on the road in 2024 as well.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you have
So
lots
thank you
of
for that.
touring coming up. So you're in
Yes, we
Australia,
do.
and then Europe, and then America, and then you're here in the
Yeah.
UK.
Yes, we are. It's like starting shortly, ending at the end of the year, and then just hopefully keep going. I never want to take for granted any show that we get to do with Alice, because I know that he's been such a iconic artist for so many years,
Mhm.
and I know at one point he's gonna say, you know what, but maybe I've done my last show. But guess what? He's not there yet.
Yeah.
And he keeps telling me every single tour we have, he keeps saying, well, as long as Mick Jagger's touring, I'm touring 5 more years because I want to beat his record. So you know what? Mick Jagger's on tour this year, so that means I
He
have at
is.
least 5 more years.
Yep. Yep. You know it. He can't quit now. And obviously, I mean, Alice, I don't know. He's just like, he's magical. Like, he doesn't age. And it's just amazing.
He does what he
Everything that he
loves.
does.
He,
Yeah.
he loves what he does what he loves, and that's what keeps him. I'm convinced that's what keeps him, having that youthful thing. I don't know how he keeps his hairline as cool. I mean, he's got a way better hairline than me. Like I said,
Sorry. It's
but
true.
it's true. No, no, no. He got a better hairline than Nita Strauss.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you might be right about that too. Sorry, Nita, but it's true. Like, his hair is pretty, it's incredible. Like, he's
This is
probably
not
got
a
a better
podcast
hairline than
about.
I do, but
Actually, this is not a podcast about Alice Cooper's hair. Let's
no,
remember
it's
that.
not. It's not.
That's for another podcast. It's for a whole nother
Exactly.
show.
Exactly.
Alice Cooper's hair.
So I know we've got some short timelines today for us to keep you on track for everything you've got going on.
That's
So
true.
where can people find you? I just saw you put up, you've got All Access. So if you want to hang out with Ryan
Oh,
online all year, you need to go check out the All Access. It's loads of fun.
I appreciate that, Ashley. We just put that out only for the all accessories. Only for the alumni. That
Yeah.
we just released it, but it's coming out in the next week or so. So maybe by the time this podcast is out, it's out there. And if you're interested at all in finding out about the inner circle and the inner workings of what it's actually really like to be on tour with a classic rock icon, and like Alice, not myself, but I'm just that guy on
You
stage,
too.
right? But fine, I'll take it. I'll take it. But I let everybody in on my life. I give people more access. It's called all access. So apparently, there's more all access going on, which means there's a lot of live streaming videos. There's a lot of webinar type forms. I teach guitar lessons for the songs that are in the set during the course of the year. So it's a kind of a thing where you join up in the beginning of the touring cycle and then it goes all through the year, even up until now. So hopefully if you're interested in that, that is you can find that right on my website. Pretty much everything that I have is ryanroxie.com. All the links to everything, whether it's all access, whether it's my podcast that I have, my own podcast called In the Trenches with Ryan Roxie. Links are there at ryanroxie.com, or whether it's the System 12 guitar method, which is a guitar method that we came up with the team RGA, that basically teaches you how to play guitar in about 12 weeks, 12 lessons. You'll learn 12 riffs and songs. It's a very I think it's one of the best, well thought out foundations of learning guitar, because you want to know all your notes, you want to know all your chords, and you want to know songs and riffs, and basically a good, you know, way to move on with the guitar and have that knowledge, basic knowledge of the guitar. System 12 guitar method is for you. So again, all those links, ryanroxie.com. Thank
And
you,
I'll
Ashley.
and I'll put them all in the show notes as well, of course. And so,
Thank you.
we love you, Ryan. So,
No, you've been a great host. You've let me talk, you've let me ramble, but at the same time, you've said a lot of insightful things yourself.
and if will people be able to come say hi to you this year on tour?
Well, let's hope there's, like that's another thing about the all access, is that I try to meet up with my all access or inner circle at shows, and whether we can meet before the show or after the show, I'll do my best, of course. Um, and also, just in general, if you my social media platform of choice is Instagram. So if you want to follow me at Ryan Roxie on Instagram, that's a good way to start getting into the world. Like I said, I post a lot of guitar shots and sort of what you might expect a guitar player playing in Alice Cooper would post on his Instagram. But if you want to get into the nitty gritty and you want to get into like, what this backstage looks like in Des Moines, Iowa, and what kind of food we're having at catering in, Boston, Massachusetts, or in Bournemouth, Wales. Was it Bournemouth, Wales?
Bournemouth is in England, but it's good.
Damn it, I thought I was close.
It's close enough.
I had. Well, if you want to know all the inside side details, that would be all excess. But again, I'm happy to have you drop by and say hello. And I'm always up for anybody new into the RGA, which is the Roxy Guitar Army.
Yeah, and it's a great group of people, so you should be there if you're not.
Thank you very much, Ashley.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And we're going to say farewell today, but thank you. You've been an amazing guest, and we will talk to you soon.
It's been a pleasure, Ashley, and good luck on all the future episodes. And I look forward to seeing the podcast just go onward and upward.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Healthy Metal Hippie podcast. If you're looking for more, head to healthymetalhippie.com and let's connect. Until next time, wishing you a magical week. See you later.